Hey everybody, Jake with Jefferson State Air Rifles here. Just going to do a quick little tutorial on trigger adjustments for the Raptor. The trigger has a number of adjustment points on it. In order to make the adjustments, you will need a 2mm and a 1.5mm Allen wrench. All of the screws, set screws that go up through the aluminum body of the trigger housing are M4s and require the 2mm Allen wrench. All of the set screws that are in either the trigger or the blades, the sears, those are M3 set screws, and they take a 1.5mm Allen wrench. So let's go over which ones do what here. So the first ones we will go over, actually we'll use the 2mm first. So you can see in our diagram here, the very front adjustment, which goes right through here, it is outlined as number 14, and number 8 is the spring that goes on there. So what that does is that adjusts the spring tension on your drop sear, the intermediate sear, and that is basically the tension that is going to release the sear and the tension that's going to reset the sear when you go to cock your gun. The next adjustment, number 7 in our diagram here, is just one back from there. Number 7 is the tension for the trigger pull. So both of those springs are replaceable. If you want something lighter or heavier, they're 1/8 inch outside diameter, and let's see here, the first one, item number 8, that one is 18.9 pounds per inch, and the second, the trigger spring, is actually 3.4 pounds per inch. So both of those you could replace with something else if you wanted to. The next adjustment is going to be number 6 in our diagram here, and that goes through the trigger itself. That's an M3, so we're going to need our 1.5 to make that adjustment. We go right up through here and get to that little set screw. And what that is the trigger return stop. So you can adjust that in and out, and that will kind of decide where your trigger lays back and forth. The next adjustment point, moving back, goes up through here. And this is basically your first stage take-up. And that is shown as number 6 in our diagram here. That is the first stage take-up. So that decides how far you got to pull the trigger before it makes contact with the sear, and in and out, adjust how much gap you got on that little guy. So the next adjustment back goes through the body, and it goes up right through here. That is an M4. You'll need the 2mm wrench to get to that guy. What that is, you can set your sear overlap much smaller than we do from the factory with that adjustment. We basically don't put any tension on this. The sear overlap is not very large to begin with, but if you want it even smaller, you can turn that in, and basically what it will do is alter the overlap of the intermediate sear and the hammer sear so that this breakover point can be next to nothing if that's what you're into. The next adjustment back, and one that is frequently overlooked, it actually goes in up through the same hole that the grip screw goes through, and that is a 1.5mm Allen wrench. And what that little set screw does is it makes contact with the safety. And so as you adjust the intermediate sear back and forth, basically changes where the safety needs to engage. So that little adjustment screw ensures that you can get your safety set to where it functions properly while you're tuning all of the rest of the trigger settings. All right, that's all of the adjustments on the trigger assembly of a Raptor. Thanks.